When those 5 sheets should be a simple listing, then nothing more is to be said. But this is not the case. There is a big knowledge, deeper knowing, a structure, a content to be understood deeper into those 5 sheets. Because these are also the 5 sheets of reality. You have to consider first 2 things. When you are trying to explain something, you only can start from the level of knowledge, intelligence, or consciousness of the person you're talking to. I give you an example. When you want to point out there is a bird in a tree, and that person doesn't find it or doesn't see it, you can build up a structure. And you can say, you can ask, do you see that tree? Not that one, but that tree. When he understands it, the bird is in that tree, you can say, okay, follow the trunk up, and then you see a big branch. Follow that branch. And then you said, okay, follow that branch, and there will be a smaller branch and even a smaller one. Just start following it, and then there in the end you will find the bird. And then the listener might have aha experiences. Okay, now I see it. So here also, it might be that those 5 sheets are just 5 definitions or 5 items, and that is that. So we said you need to understand 2 things, and this is the first one. You must be understanding this list from the intelligence or the consciousness you're having. And it differs for everyone. The second thing is Ayurveda is being explained most now in the Western society. And the Western society has a totally different way of thinking than the Eastern society where it originated from. For instance, again, for a Westerner, it might be, oh yeah, the number is 5, and he will look at it from his Western consciousness angle, and he will say, okay, yeah, that means it's like a building with 5 levels, 5 floors. Okay, and that is that. 5 floors, understandable. You can memorize it, 5, done. The Eastern approach is totally different. They are not thinking in a structured or an analytical way. Let me give an example. From the Western point of view, or at least the Christian one, we consider there is only one God. And again, that is analytical thinking. There is only one God, one source, one nature, one creation, and that is very understandable for the analytical Western mind, and he is very satisfied in that. The Eastern society has a totally different approach. They said, okay, there might be one God, but how do you approach that God? How are you going to understand that God? The same thing, how are you going to see the bird in the tree? And you can approach it with the analytical Western approach, saying, okay, there is one God, it is it, but the Eastern said, no, 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 no. Everyone comes from a different angle and will arrive at a level of understanding he is capable of, and that's okay for that person. So the Eastern person doesn't or is not concerned about how many gods there are. The Eastern person is considering how do you get to your understanding at the moment you are thinking about it. And if God is for you a tree, then it's a tree for you. If that works for you, oh, he doesn't care. Eastern person. If it's a bird, it's whatever imagination you can provide in your mind what for you the highest self is, that's okay for you. If you have to invent two of them, three of them, even thousands of them, if it works for you, that's okay. But if it works for you different than it works for the other one, then we have at least two gods. And Indians are with many, are with billions. So the Eastern Indian guy is not concerned about how you perceive your God or your gods. What he is interested in is, does it work for you? So here understand totally a different approach how to approach things, and here the 5 sheets. So the 5 sheets is not about, oh yeah, there are five. If there are 10 for you, no problem, there are 10 for you. But I am just pointing to the bird here, and that is 5. If you want to see another bird, who cares? If it's understandable for you, that is the goal of the list here. So it's totally not a list. It is a guide how to approach a concept, how to approach the layers of being that are within you. Another example, a more Western one, is we consider the rainbow having 7 colors. And here it is, a list, 7. Not 8, not 9, not 24, 7. But this is just an agreement. And most people are not aware or not very conscious about that there is no, if you look at a rainbow, you can analytically see 7 colors because you have 7 colors in your mind. So you draw a line between 2 different colors, but the line is not there. There is a lot of red in orange. There is a lot of yellow in orange. So calling red red and discarding the orange in it, discarding the yellow in it, is not correct. But for your analytical mind to have a brief understanding what is a color, where is the bird in the tree, then you say, okay, let's agree there are 7 colors. But if you would look deeply or deeper into a rainbow, you will find that there is blue in the red, there is green in the purple. But that confuses mostly Western people. Eastern people will say, of course, if you want to look at red, deep orange, whatever works for you, guy. So you understand, we are here offering you a list, an understanding, but no one says you have to agree on 5. You don't have to agree on the definitions, but you need to understand where the Upanishad and here the Ayurveda is pointing at. And there is one big concept about Ayurveda, and that Ayurveda question for you is, can you look deeper? That is the basic concept and request for you when you approach Ayurveda. Can you look at yourself a little deeper from wherever point you are? So the first layer we are discussing is the Annamaya layer or Kosha. Again, we are approaching or trying to point out the bird in the tree. When you cannot see the full picture of who you are, you have to start somewhere. What you tell a child that the body is, and then you say that to the child, you say, okay, this is your body. You can touch it, you can feel it. You have a head, 2 arms, 2 legs, 10 fingers, 10 toes. There are bones, and there is flesh. That is Annamaya. But the Upanishads and Ayurveda ask, can you look deeper? Of course, I am flesh and bones. But is that all there is? Is this really me? And then we see 2 things. First, that body is not me. I am looking at my body. In Sanskrit, that means I am the drashta. I am the seer. I am not that body. Another way of looking at it, the same thing is this body is insentient, inert, mind over body. Then we say the body is yada. I am not the body is neutral. Another way of thinking is the body is changing, then we say the body is vikari. Then I am unchanging, I am nirvikara. And then we are approaching, oh yes, my body is getting older, but I am not getting older. I am in the same body, but my mind, my consciousness is not getting older. And when we're looking at karma, incarnations, you say, oh yes, wait, if I consider incarnation to be real, then I come back in another body. So there are 2 bodies and 1 me. So also there the body is changing. I am unchanging, nirvikara. And basically Annamaya means also I am exchanging biochemicals. Yesterday I was a fruit, and now that fruit is me. Yesterday there was a bread, and now that bread is me. It's an exchange of biochemicals. It's a way of addressing a level of understanding, and that is okay. But of course, that is not the real you. So we need to go to the second level, and then we go to the second level is the Pranamaya Kosha. I am not what I eat. I am not only those biochemicals, that food that is just changing form. Why do I need food? Why do I need biochemicals? Of course, to stay alive. So to stay alive has to do not with food, but with energy. And of course, in Indian philosophy, we are talking about prana. So that's where we are changing from Annamaya to Pranamaya. Why are we eating? The second level is the prana level, the energy level. And the energy level is the life level, not the food, not the chemicals, but the energy in, around, beyond the food. And also here, prana is changing. I am not the prana. Sometimes my energy is low, my prana is low, and then I call this illness. But that me is not ill. My energy is low. My body feels ill. When my energy is high, I say, oh, I'm healthy. I am life. I feel alive. Now my energy is high, my prana is high, but also that prana is changing. So that's a level, the prana level, built on the first sheet, the first level. It's just a way of expressing, am I energy, am I biochemicals, both, and none of them. Of course, you're not only skin and bones. Of course, you're not only the chemicals you exchanged with plants and animals or whatever, or even water and stuff. Why do you need those chemicals? That is the next level of the sheet. So we are at the second sheet. Why do we need those chemicals to build skin and bones and a physical body, Maya? We need that to stay alive, to be alive, to create life, more life. So we arrived from a physical level to an energetic level. And of course, the energetic level in the Hinduistic and the Indian Vedanta philosophy is called prana. So here with the Ayurveda, we address our who we are as an energetic person, as an energetic being. So, for instance, when we feel that our energy is low, we say we are ill. When we say when our energy is high, we are saying we are healthy or pumped up or alive. happy. But then again, we are not our prana, because even the prana is changing. We are the unchanged being looking at our prana level. So we are not our prana maya. That's why it is called maya, the illusion of the energy. So the second sheet is the Pranamaya, or the approach of the energy level of who we are, but or do we have, but are not. The third sheet is the Manomaya. Mano meaning mind, Maya meaning illusion. So we are at the arrived at the level of the mind. So going through the prana, we are now at the life processes. But are we, for instance, are we our mind? We say we are our personality. We say we are our ideas, our thoughts, our memories, our identity, our feelings, our personality. But is that true? Again, Ayurveda asks for us, go deeper, go deeper. Antara means deeper. Here we are addressing the level of the mind, but we have a mind. When I say I am happy, is my mind is happy. When I'm saying I'm sad, that is my mind is unhappy. But me, I am not my mind, I am not my prana, I am not my ama. I am beyond that. Maybe I want something. No, my mind something. Maybe I like chocolate, so I want to eat chocolate. But I am not the chocolate. I am not the prana of the chocolate. And I am not the desire of that chocolate. I am not the Mano, I am Manomaya. The fourth level of our being, who we think we are, which the Upanishads are telling us about, and the Ayurveda took on, is the Vijnanamaya. And this has to do with the intellect. So the intellect is, from the Western approach, what we know, what we learned in the past, what we learned in school, on the street, what we read about, what we understand, our memory. But on the other side, the Upanishads ask us to consider that we have forgotten a lot of stuff. We will forget a lot of stuff. So the knowledge we have today is not the knowledge we had yesterday, is not the knowledge we will have tomorrow. So we might be bright and we might be even brighter tomorrow. That brightness we have, we are not. We are not what our brain tells we know or we don't know. This is something we have. So again, this is also an illusion. This is Maya. So we are not our memories. We are not our intelligence. We need to dig deeper. So we are not our body, our flesh and bones. We are not our prana, our life source energies. We are not our mind. We are not even our intellect. So understand we are using Ayurveda to approach levels of consciousness, or at least who we think we are. And again, although the Upanishads or Vedanta are telling us what we not are, this is maybe what we think we are. So we might and we are using Ayurveda for healing and transcendental and understanding. We are taking on the level of where the problem is. So while an illness is on the Annamaya level, then we say, okay, you have to change your habit. You have to change your eating pattern because there is your level of understanding. That is where you think the birth is for you. That is your state of mind at that moment. So here at number 5, the Anandamaya is about the transcendental things. When we think we are who we are, then we think, oh, I am a conscious person. But of course we are not always conscious. We sleep sometimes. Sometimes we do things without any 100% consciousness, so we call it the subconsciousness that takes over. Sometimes we just act on instinct that we call the unconscious. And sometimes we do things pure, inspired by the divine that we call the superconscious. All those are what we say the transcendental, the Anandamaya. But then again, we are not that neither. So again, Ayurveda will and can use yourself. I mean, you can use the level of an understanding of who we think we are. And those 5 levels are perfect for that. If you think, or the client thinks, or the person thinks, that is who he is. So that's who he is stuck in. That is where he thinks the disease or the blockage is. So, and that's okay. The Upanishads provided us with levels of understanding, and in the end we understood we are none of the 5, or we are all of the 5 matters of angle which we are choosing. But mostly we understand now we are neither one of the 5. And here the Upanishads don't give any 6th level, they don't provide any extra thing, no source level, no divine level, no Atman, no Brahman, no God, nor no Mohammed, no Christ, no anything. Because there is nothing to say beyond that. And again, Ayurveda is not here to tell us who we are. Ayurveda is here to assist us to look and to find the bird in the tree. And once we found the bird in the tree, we can decide what we understood for ourselves. We can decide who we are in that space, in that space-time, in that void, in that oneness moment. We can decide who we are or transcend that when we would like to do that. Ayurveda helps us to understand, to go deeper, not to become who we not